Welcome to Uncommon Sense, where we have an uncommon sense conversation trying to make common sense out of all this madness that's going on. I am Jay Howard. I got my boy, my man, the one and only Michael B. Rice Sr., Big Brother Mo Better. How you doing, Big Brother?
I'm doing fairly middling there, Big Brother Ross. Stillman College graduate.
Hey, man, you live on location somewhere undisclosed. I got to say undisclosed because tonight is going to be hard to hit, man, because we can't let nobody know what we're at.
Yeah, man, don't let them find me, bro. They gotta look for me. They gotta look.
They gotta look. You know they got some folk called ICE. You know.
Keep your black card handy. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Keep your black card handy. Uncommon sense. Yes, sir. It's real. Uncommon sense. You can hear us every Tuesday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the TruVision.net and SenseUX.com. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Uncommon sense. Brother, what is going on? What is happening?
Now see why they're trying to go to Mars, man. They tearing up Earth.
They tearing up Earth, God. They tearing it up everywhere.
So that's why they're trying to go to Mars, play up.
And your boy Elon, he tearing it up.
Yo, man.
Trump tearing it up.
One poison and one is pulling apart politically. So I guess
Exactly.
One into the other. One into the other, man.
Ooh, boy, it's something else, brother. Something else. Yeah, bro. Wow.
Glad to keep from crying, bro. Glad to keep from crying.
Glad to keep from crying, man. And we can't make this stuff up, man. We just can't make it up, bro.
No, man. I mean, ain't no need to.
Ain't no need to.
Ain't no need to. Man.
It is what it is, right?
They giving you all the material that you need. Player,
all the material.
All the material, man. You gotta make this up, man. This stuff here. You wouldn't even think about it if didn't think it was possible, but boy, they made it possible, God dang.
Now, brother, right? Hey, we get up this morning, the Supreme Court done gave Trump, just full carte blanche to the Department of Education to keep pulling all that money out so it could go to ICE and wherever else is going. We don't know.
We don't know, man. But that's the thing, man. It's so darn interesting and also again scary, man, because again, that's a congressional act there, man.
Right.
So that was the argument. Since the Department of Education is enacted by Congress, only Congress can do things that will affect the education department. And so for this cat to be able to just go through there with a hot knife like through butter, man, it just don't make sense.
Don't make sense.
But doing it, man.
But as the book of life said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Not at all, player. Not at all.
So player. Trump is running the same playbook as a man called Andrew Jackson.
The one that took away your 40 acres and a mule.
Exactly. That's the one that took it away, Doc.
The one 40 acres and a mule. Yeah,
didn't he? And he was a Democrat too, right?
Southern Democrat.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
The mule and the acres, man. So I'm just saying.
There we go. Well, we got some beautiful beam footage of that right now, right here on Uncommon Sense.
Anything like Trump before, that he's some wild brand new threat, but the truth is, we've actually seen this exact playbook. One of the first to run it was Andrew Jackson. That's right, the man they put on the $20 bill. Jackson wasn't some heroic frontier president. He was a man who built his power by promising to burn the system down for his people. He ran as the outsider, as the man who would fight the so-called corrupt elite. He called himself the champion of the common man, but what he really meant was the white settler, the land-hungry, the ones who wanted native land without the people on it. And he delivered. He signed the Indian Removal Act. He forced entire nations from their homes, ignoring the Supreme Court when they told him to stop. He looked at the law and basically said, I don't care. Because his base wanted blood, they wanted land. So he gave them genocide. The Trail of Tears wasn't just a tragedy, it was a policy. It was a promise kept. Now, we look at Trump. He wasn't some folksy frontier man, but he sold the same lie, that he was the outsider that would fight the establishment, that he alone could fix it. He didn't promise land, he promised to give people their country back, to shut out immigrants, to silence protesters, to punish anyone who threatened the idea of an America that centered them. He doesn't care about the law. He calls judges biased and corrupt if they rule against him, fires anyone who tells the truth, spreads conspiracy to stay in power. Remember when he lost? He tried to overturn it. He sent people to the Capitol to stop the count. He wanted to hold power no matter what the vote said. Both of them sold the same deal. I'll fight for you. I'll break the rules for you. But you have to give me everything. Your loyalty, your silence, your complicity. They didn't just want to lead. They wanted to own it. They wanted to be above it all. So no, Trump isn't some new American invention. He's a part of tradition that this country pretends not to see. A tradition of men who promise to speak for the people while crushing anyone who gets in their way, who twist democracy into a weapon, who uses hate to hold power. Jackson showed how it could be done. Trump just proved that we still haven't learned. If you really want to know America, stop looking at the myth. Look at the pattern because it's right there in front of us. And it always has been.
It always have been. It
Always has been, man.
Always.
That part.
That part right there. Always have been.
Always has been, man. Sister laid it out beautifully, man. She laid it out beautifully.
Laid it out beautifully, Doc. Beautifully.
Yeah.
Man.
And we're here, man. So like you said, man, don't it's not a myth, follow the pattern. And it's live and living color, man.
Now, the next question is, what are our tax dollars really funding? What are tax dollars really funding? We say we pay taxes, but what are we paying taxes to fund?
Somebody else's lifestyle.
Yeah, that right there.
Yeah, it ain't yours, trust me.
But you know what? It's a little deeper than that. So let me run the beautiful being footage on this one.
Oh, my.
Here we go.
China owns $800 billion of U.S. debt, which they do. Then, of course, the United States, as the borrower, has to pay interest, which means that you and I and everybody else gets to pay taxes every year that go to Washington, where they don't fund our roads or schools or hospitals. It's money that the United States government collects and sends to Beijing to pay interest on the debt. And the Chinese use to develop the Red Army. Do you understand? All of this has to happen beneath the surface, because if Americans understood what I just said, they would realize the reality is the opposite. That's the reality of the economic of capitalism.
It's not used to fund. Fund our roads and our schools and say, hey, we got to pay back China.
Yeah, man. That's the reality of it, man. When as Willie said, bro, you're paying interest every single month, and that's what one of the senators was saying when they was talking about the cutting all this stuff.
Right.
He said, "What relates to employment, all that good stuff, you still haven't even tackled your interest payment, so you're not even nowhere near putting a dent in this stuff, man. And so every single month, man, you just like you pay interest on your debt, America's doing the same thing.
Right.
And the one you trying to buck up against owns one of the biggest chunks of your debt. You know what I'm saying? So
No, we get penalized for our debt, but
That's
for their debt, it's like, okay, y'all can still owe us, but remember you owe us
every single month.
every single month.
Every single month. And so that's why you got these wars, man. You're trying to pay for stuff, man. So you're spending money trying to make money. It's a game. But at the end of the day, man, the sad part about it is America really doesn't know how bad this thing is.
Right.
Because again, Japan, number one, then China.
Yep.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, bro. Make it make
Them
sense.
two right there, yeah. Them 2 seconds right there on your biggest part of your deck. Yeah, try that
Exactly.
war to him. Yeah.
I know. Try
Yeah.
to. You see, we
Try
ain't
to.
messing with we ain't messing with China. And even when
No,
he
man.
tried to like play like he was gonna mess with China, come on, he brought that back real quick. Real quick.
Yeah, that was. He got that phone call, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
he
don't
did.
know, man.
He did.
Mhm.
But brother, right, when we talking about 47. So
Mhm.
now it's almost what? It's 6 months in, 6 months in.
Yeah, buddy.
So now you got some people who voted for him. They done start giving testimonies now about 47. And
I don't see why.
and they gonna give testimonies. And, and it's like, dude, really?
Yeah.
You had to
Yeah.
go through 5 months of this in order to come to this conclusion about
Mhm.
this president.
Oh man, they knew it. They didn't think it was gonna come their way. That's what that was, man.
Right. They didn't think it was gonna swing their way. But
Swaying that way.
anyway,
Mhm.
here's the beautiful beam footage on that. Right here on Uncommon Sense.
It runs $20,000 a month without insurance. I make $800 a month. Oh, that will kill me. That would kill my friends. That would kill millions of people in this country if they lose their health care.
We're in California's District 22, a rural community in the state's Central Valley. This district voted for Trump for the first time in 2024, but now his policies threaten one of the benefits people here rely on the most. Do you know anyone personally who voted for President Trump but depends on benefits like Medicaid?
Oh yeah. I know a lot of people.
One resident who would be impacted by Medicaid cuts is 64-year-old Irma Arredondo, who voted for Trump in 2024. Irma has several chronic health issues, including type 1 diabetes. She's also a full-time caregiver for her daughter, who has cerebral palsy, and her sister, who has Turner syndrome.
The medicine that my daughter takes for seizures, I won't be able to afford it. So we feel hopeless if those cuts come, you know. What we're going to do.
Irma was a farm worker for more than a decade. She believes that some of her and her children's health issues can be linked to the pesticides she was exposed to while working in the fields.
Look at me right now. Look at me how many sicknesses that I have. We got all in the fields. Where else? I feel like they stabbing us in the back, you know? But why? Why when we put food on their tables? Trump promised a lot of things. I thought it would be more family values and those programs that they really need here.
One of those promises was to protect Medicaid, which 67% of people in this district rely on. It's the largest percentage of any district in the entire country.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, we're not going to touch it.
The yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
This bill represents the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. It will devastate vulnerable populations.
The largest tax break go to the wealthiest individuals. Are those your values?
No, there's no way.
Irma isn't the only one in District 22 who feels betrayed by the administration's plan to gut Medicaid.
The only people they're hurting are the poor people that really need the stuff. Elon Musk doesn't need it, Trump doesn't need it, and billionaires don't need it.
They're making out big time with this, but they're hurting people in the process.
If we could go back to November, who would you vote for now, seeing what you see? You just wouldn't have voted.
None either.
Now, you heard the man say what he was going to do. Mm-hmm. But of course, he lied about what he was going to do. And now, and now we're at a standpoint now. It's like, okay, I want to take my vote back. I don't want, it's so many hurting people out here now. Because Trump didn't care.
No, man. I mean, again, the cat lies about everything, so I don't see why you thought it was being different.
Right.
The man can't tell the truth and slapping him in the face. So at this point, again, we're here. And it's going to get worse, man, because again, the cuts don't come in until after the midterms, and then the bulk of the cut don't come in until after 2028, after the man's out of office. So the real blunt of this is not going to hit folks until 3 or 4 years from now. But all the folks who got the party started, 9 out of 10 ain't gonna be nowhere to be found.
Right.
Exactly. So this is where the catch-20 comes in. But for the young lady to say she would vote for neither, that kind of bothers me on that one. And I know people have some issue with Kamala Harris, from certain aspects of it. But again, if you're looking at the dynamics of what you have versus what you could have had, I think Harris probably would have put a little more on that table than you than this man to put on that table, man. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would not have voted at all, and he's a liar and has been. Come on, man.
I know, right?
I mean, that's right.
So, but again, man, the reckoning is coming. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I don't think people recognize how bad it's going to get.
Right.
Because folks who it is.
Right.
When you look at where we're headed, and like you said, we're up in there, they've gutted so far. That's just the first blunt, man. You have felt the residual effects of folks being out in place, like in Department of Education, State Department, IRS, pick one.
Yeah.
You haven't felt the blunt on those folks not being there anymore. Yeah.
Right.
And so sooner or later down that line, man, you finish out feeling some stuff, and it's going to be kind of ugly.
Right. And matter of fact, here's some more testimonies right here.
You voted for Trump. How do you feel now?
Horrible.
What did you vote for?
I voted for change, but I didn't vote for this change.
Through tears, wearing an ICE-issued uniform, Cynthia Oliveira begs the Canadian government for help.
I really do need their help. I don't want to be in here.
The mother of 3 is currently being held by ICE at this detention center in El Paso, Texas. She says her nightmare started on June 13th when she went to her green card interview.
You thought you were going to be getting your green card, but instead they arrested you. Did they trick you?
Yes. And they said, look, she's getting deported immediately.
Cynthia's husband, Francisco, is a U.S. citizen. She says her parents brought her to the United States from Toronto when she was just a little girl.
The U.S. is my country. That's where I met my husband. That's where I went to high school, junior high, elementary. That's where I had my kids.
And like her husband, she too supported President Trump's promise to launch the largest deportation program of criminals in American history.
My wife is up until 18 days ago, was a strong believer in what was going to happen the next 4 years, but we feel totally blindsided, betrayed.
Okay. Now that was kind of cold. How you go to a green card hearing and they arrest you and you get deported, but then all of a sudden you said you were blindsided. How you gonna be blindsided?
That's the thing, man. I understand. Because again, if I'm a criminal, I'm here illegally. I'm just not gonna be going from my daily activities like everything is everything.
Right.
So the only thing you can default to, man, is folks who are going about their daily activities, trying to do things the right way, and they're getting caught up in the net. And so again, that's where you are. You don't have enough, quote unquote, worst of the worst to get out of here. So they go on for the low hanging fruit, and that's that poor sister right there, man. It's again sad, but it's the reality we walking in.
Right. Exactly, brother. And then coming to the point now, they're really talking about bringing this thing, really, if you really bring it to a nutshell, you're really bringing it to where it's now modern day slavery almost starting to happen in this country, where even Trump is talking about owner's responsibility. Now you got to listen to the key words. You got to listen to the hot words. Oftentimes, right, we always tell people, listen to certain words that you're hearing when they're saying these words, because they're talking actually in code, but the code they're talking about, they really talking about the real deal. Even in this situation where it says owner's responsibility,
That part.
Okay,
Yep.
that part right there.
That part.
So let's run that beautiful beam footage where he's talking about the owner's responsibility. This is kind of deep here for us.
Here's Donald Trump talking about his new order of slavery in the United States.
President, you've talked recently about the idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce. And I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not amnesty?
Take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people, and we're working on it right now, and Ron's going to be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these are guys working there for 10, 15 years, no problem. The farmers know them. We're going to put, it's called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden so I have a great, Ron does, Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything else. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
Owner's responsibility. Sound like we've been down that road before.
Oh, we've been down that road before. This man, they can pay taxes and all that good stuff, but they can't get citizenship or amnesty.
Right. Exactly. Doesn't that sound like a familiar story?
You know, so you're going to work somebody, but they can't get citizenship, they can't get amnesty, but they're going to pay taxes and everything else.
Right. And see, these farmers, they know these people.
Who are these people?
These people. Now the correct name, as they would put it out there, would call farmer's responsibility. Right. But then he went back and said owner's responsibility. So if you're an owner, so you're looking at them as being property.
But that's basically what you are. If you paying taxes and everything else, but you can't be a citizen.
Taxes and you can't get no rights.
Yeah, that's slavery to me.
That's slavery to me, bro. That's slavery. So now,
again, man, the horse they didn't change it, man. They just put another thing on it, bro. They didn't change that beast. They
didn't change that beast. They just changed the name.
That's all it is, man. Change clothes.
Change the name to protect the guilty.
That's what that was, man. So yeah. So I mean, again, when the leader of your nation says something like that and say it proudly, and boldly, that tells you something right there, man. Tell the folks that they can sign up.
Yeah,
you can sign up for this. You can sign up
for this.
Okay,
because we need doing them that feels.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, man. But again, man.
But now, if we don't get enough in them fields, then we got sort of an alternative plan here.
Oh, you know what it is. You know what it is.
How you gonna take Medicaid and change it into another form of modern day slavery? How you gonna do that?
Because it's legal.
And this is legal. And this is how we gonna do it, based upon your Secretary of Agriculture. Now, this is the Secretary of Agriculture telling you how we going to bring more people to work the fields from the Wait a minute. From Medicaid.
That part.
But you the Secretary of Agriculture. What you got to do with Medicaid?
Not a darn thing, but she getting ready to.
Yeah, here you go. I'm just telling you. Hey, we just telling y'all what's out there, what's about to go down. And just like, well, President Obama said, hey, you better start standing up. You better start doing something.
Put you back on
something. Here we go.
Rollins out here saying, well, we're going to shift gears a little bit, actually. And we're going to, what's the exact quote? And we're going to move the workforce toward automation and 100% American participation, which will be 34 able-bodied on Medicaid we should be able to do fairly quickly. Medicaid, filling that void with American participation in a sector of the labor market that traditionally Americans don't want to do. Watch Brooke Rollins, spokesperson for the agenda of Donald Trump. She would not have said this without the pre-authorization of the dear leader, President Donald Trump.
But I can't underscore enough. There will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, and we move the workforce towards automation and 100% American participation, which again, with 34 million people, able-bodied adults on Medicaid, we should be able to do that fairly quickly. Thank you.
First of all, there's not 34 million people on Medicaid who are not qualified for Medicaid. If you're wondering who's on Medicaid, let's go straight to the source, Donald Trump's Health and Human Services Department. Who is eligible for Medicaid? In all states, Medicaid gives health coverage to some individuals and families, including children, parents, people who are pregnant, elderly people with certain incomes, and people with disabilities. So it's time to get your grandma out of the assisted living facility and get her in the field to pick that cabbage, according to Brooke Rollins and Donald Trump.
There it is.
There it is, man. That boy.
That boy right there.
That boy.
That's a problem.
No, it's going to be a serious problem.
It's going to be a real problem.
It's going to
a
be
real
a
problem.
serious problem. Yeah,
you're going to take Medicaid, people who qualify for Medicaid, and then you even going to take them and even take those who are in nursing homes or assisted living homes, and you're going to try to make them go to the fields.
Again, man, that's the only pool you got. And when you put the work requirement that they have to work at least 80 hours, I think it's a month or a week.
80 hours. Yeah, it's 80 hours a month.
8 hours a month. Okay, so again, first of all, you're going to require it to happen. So that means you're going to have to fund them somewhere, because you're going to demand that they got to work. Well, if they can't work, they can't get aid. So you're banking on somebody defaulting to the farmland, because it's all they got. That's what you're banking on.
Right.
But just because someone does that, man, they ain't got to do that.
No.
So we're at a place, man. Again, where you create a problem, but you don't have a solution.
Right.
This is what that is. And when you're talking about 100% American participation, how you gonna do that?
Yeah.
You gonna tell somebody going into the field and they just gonna go? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, player.
No. And good luck getting grandmama to go in there. Good luck with that one.
Good luck with that one, brother.
Bruh.
Good luck with that one.
So like I said, man, you got a problem. And again, the grocery stores are getting ready to start filling in a minute, because you got a lot of crops, man, that are dying in the field.
Right.
So you got that issue there, man.
Right.
Again, a lot of stuff died as far as USAID's thing just died on the dock. So again, man, you getting ready to deal with this stuff, the fallout, the residual stuff coming next year. Again, you haven't really felt it yet because you got surplus here, surplus there. You kind of got things in the pipeline. And so you kind of like winging this out. But the real hit is going to come in the next 6 months, brother. This is when you're going to start seeing some things as far as what they've done.
Right, exactly. And see, even that right there even floats down to where now you're talking about, you got ICE out here, right? You got Tom Horman, right? He's the border goon, as we call him. Okay.
Yeah.
But see, the thing about that, they're saying ICE. All they got to do is say, we think you ought to be detained. So we need to go ahead and get you just off appearance. It ain't even got to be, something that you've done or something that caused it. It's just off of your appearance. We think you ought to be detained and be put into some kind of camp of detainment or somewhere. So here's that beautiful beam footage on what he says in this. This is crazy.
Officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. Get articulable facts based on their location, their occupation, their physical appearance.
We have a real serious problem in this. We have many real serious problems in this country, but specifically the thing I want to talk about right now, and an adjacent point to it, is that the mainstream media is absolutely dropping the ball. It should be 24/7, wall-to-wall, bell-to-bell coverage of the militarization of ICE, of Border Patrol, of state and local police, of the National Guard, Donald Trump's secret police, and there's no other way to call them anything other than that. When their faces are masked, they have no name tags, there is no identification, they refuse to identify themselves, and they're kidnapping people off the streets of the United States. And Tom Homan, the border czar, the jackbooted fascist mushmouth dildo with ears, was on Fox News this morning, justifying what they're doing, decrying the polls that accurately reflect the opinions of the American people, that they're not cool with what's happening. I've got two clips here. One is that what I just said. The other is him declaring that they don't need probable cause to stop you. If you look the way they want you to look, they can stop you. So this is just signaling to the world that if you come here and you're brown, that's all the probable cause that any cop needs to detain you, to arrest you. This is wildly fascist. This is unconstitutional. At the very least, it's unconscionable. Watch Tom Homan, dumb guy extraordinaire, mush out some words from his suckhole onto the American people through Fox News.
Every day. And I said from day one, when President Trump became president, that they're going to vilify the men and women of ICE. They'll vilify the men and women of Border Patrol. They did it during the last administration, except this time, the rhetoric's at an all-time high. Every day I get up and I read the media posts at the White House, and 90% of the stories are just fake. They're lies. So, and people say, well, the polls are kind of turning against Donald Trump a little bit on immigration. First of all, I don't believe it. If the polls turn it off, because all the fake news out there, they're lying about what the President Trump is doing. They're lying about what the men and women of ICE are doing. And that kind of turns, the tide against us a little bit. But that's why, members of the administration are out there every day setting the facts straight. The fact is, I read in the paper the other day, the majority of people who arrest are not criminals. Wrong. Look at the data. Go to ICE.gov and look at the data. But we got some media saying, well, it's just a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. They're not really criminal. Oh, they're not convicted. They're just charged. Oh, they're not criminals. No. We're prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats, and that's a fact.
Don't you love it? Well, I don't believe the polls, but if they are right, I don't believe them either.
Contradiction.
It's going to even be other kind of way but that, man.
Of course, man. Of course. Of course, bro. Of course.
So, again, but Tall Homie, man, that dude there, man, he couldn't find nowhere but in law enforcement. So that's what that. But,
right. You sound like you got a little dementia there, too, that he dealing
he got
with. Something. He sound like a little drunk, too. He done had a little something, where he tips.
So, he got nothing to do. But yeah, man, this is racial profiling at the new height, man. And again, the issue that I got with these cats are, again, when you got these masked men, no identification, no again markings of that these people are whoever they say they are. And there's an uptick on Amazon and other sites where people are getting fake ICE, gear and everything.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to create a power cave that will folk again impersonating folks. But if folks are walking around again, the real cats, if they are walking around again with masks and everything, not identifying themselves and stuff like that, how do you know? How can you make the distinction? So you're creating a power cave, man. And so at the end of the day, this something, man, is getting ready to hit an all-time high, and I don't know how it's going to end, but I know it can't be nice with how they militarize ICE, and again, this mass goon squad they got, bro. This can't end well,
bro. This is the same playbook from. They used to have white sheets and masks and. Come on, bro. It's the same playbook.
Like I said, but yeah, don't believe the myth. The pattern is still there, man. So that's the issue, man. When we're looking at fascism and you're looking at again a police state, that's why again, if you look at what they did in LA, they needed that particular situation, man, to do a dry run.
Right.
So these are the things you're seeing act in real time, and this is the issue when you're talking about again setting the stage for whether you want to have a racial riot, whether you want to have a civil war. However you want to term it, you're setting the stage for it.
You're setting the stage.
You're really, you're creating the atmosphere and the culture that this thing can pop off at any given time. And it gives power and credence to a Trump and to a Holman and everybody else who's in place to do what they do. And this explains why you have a hex elf as far as Secretary of Defense. This is why, these people who are inexperienced, it's inexperienced, don't know nothing. You see why these cats are in office, man. Because you need these morons to be able to do the stupid stuff that you're doing. So there's no guessing game as far as why you're there. It's just the pushing and how far they're gonna push that button. And I believe they're gonna push it as far as they can, man.
Oh yeah, as far as they can. And Representative Debbie Schwartz took a tour of Alligator Alcatraz, and with Alligator Alcatraz, man, the way that she was explaining it was so horrific and horrible. Like, how could you even consider putting individuals or people in that type of environment just because you just don't like the color of their skin? That's what it seems like to me. Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So
exactly what it is.
Let's run this beautiful beam footage on that.
Let's be clear, throughout this entire tour, it was repeated over and over that the state is working hand in glove with ICE. This facility was inspected by ICE. They review their detention standards. They are using cages. These detainees are living in cages. The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets that are toilet units that have a sink attached to it. So they essentially drink, they get their drinking water and they brush their teeth where they poop in the same unit. They bragged that they went above standards, supposedly, and gave them a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length inside the 32 detainee cage, a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length of the 3 toilets in a row. The showers provide no privacy at all. There are no curtains on it. It's a big open shower unit. There are, small walls in each shower. But, we're talking about all 900 men who are held in this facility. It is built currently for 1,000, and they have no privacy at all when they're showering. For meals, when we walked through the quote-unquote meal prep area, the kitchen area, for lack of a better term, the portion they had the portions that were available for detainees, and they had the portions that were available for employees being prepared at the same time. The portions available for employees, large pieces of roast chicken, large sausages, and the detainees' lunches were a small, gray turkey and cheese sandwich, an apple, and chips, and that's it. We're talking about fully grown men being fed very small portions. When I asked,
see, man, just treating them all unhumane, and this is crazy.
Beyond crazy, man, is when you think about treating human this way, man,
Right.
regardless of whatever your ethnicity is. Treat a human like that, man. But again, to them, it's just a dollar sign. That's
right.
That's all they see.
Right.
And that's exactly how they're going after it. And again, to have cages, man, 32 people in one quote unquote cage, and then you use the restroom and you brush your teeth out the same spot.
At the same spot? Brother.
You do.
That
32 people using. That's sickening, man.
That's sickening, man. That's real sickening.
32 people using 3 small little areas like that, man. You urinate, you brush your teeth in the same spot. How is that sanitary, man?
It's not. But see, you done gutted the department that could regulate that. You done got rid of that department.
Oh yeah, you took all the watchdogs out of there, man. That's why they cleared the house, man. Like I said, man, the residual effect, you're not going to feel, man, for the next 6 months. But now you're seeing what they can do without having those watchdogs in place. But you know why they did it now.
Right.
Again,
exactly.
Lawsuits becoming from every twist and turn. But the Supreme Court is giving, like you said, carte blanche to that boy for some reason or another. So you don't know what it's going to end, man.
No, you don't. You don't, man. And, even talking about the situation in Texas, what's going on with the flooding there, to where they can't even get any kind of relief or any kind of funds or resources from the federal government on a timely manner to where they can deal with the situation. It was like 3 days later before they could even get the necessary resources that they needed in order to get help from down there. And that's why they're still looking for bodies. They're still looking for people because they don't have the resources. And that's not how it's supposed to be set up in the first place.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Man, Dellamore said this is where mainstream media should be hidden on both sides. But they've been, the fear of God been put in them because of what they did with 60 Minutes and other stuff. So if you start you start publicizing what's going on, you're looking for retribution from the Trump administration. So you know why it is. And just like the floods happened up there in Falls, North Carolina, and Tropical Storm Chantal, they still haven't, gave credence to that. So you're here, man. And like you're saying, you gutted everything, so you can't respond like you're supposed to.
Right.
And it's not a good place to be in right now, man.
So let's play this wonderful, beautiful beam footage of Michael Steele and Jasmine Crockett. They're having this conversation because somebody need to say something on what's going on and what's happening. So at least they're saying something and they're bringing something to the forefront, even with this situation in Texas. Because, okay, if this happens in Texas, what about another state that this happens to? What's going to happen there? And then you got old girl. She doesn't know what to do. She has not a clue, and she's doing all her photo ops on social media.
Yeah.
But bruh.
Kristi Noem.
Yeah, Kristi Noem. Bruh.
She just want to spot from the comments. All she want, and she happy.
She happy.
She happy,
But
man. So.
anyway, here's some beautiful beam footage of Michael Steele and Jasmine Crockett.
That you know, your concern is not your district, but you may have some folks who may have been affected by that. You also signed on to a letter demanding oversight on the government's response so far. First off, what are the chances of that happening, being in the minority, right?
Yeah.
But the importance of it, though, still remains that we have to see what the government did here or failed to do.
Yeah.
In responding to this tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that one of the things that this government hasn't realized, or this administration does not realize, is that we are supposed to be problem solvers. And instead, what they continue to do is they continue to break things and make it more difficult for us to fix problems that people are facing. When it comes to these emergencies like this, and with us entering hurricane season, which will definitely most likely impact Texas, Louisiana, Florida, North Carolina, as we just kind of go up and down the coast, it is important to understand whether or not this iteration of FEMA is actually functioning for the American people. I know that it sounds good maybe to be like, oh, the governor needs to take care of it, otherwise it's a loser governor. But the reality is that people need to understand this is about resources, right? And so certain states just don't have as many resources as other states, right? The federal government is taking dollars from all of us, and they've got them in this big bucket. It is important that when you need them, that's kind of like our backup. That's our safety, right? And so we're supposed to be able to call them in for these huge disasters. But as we sent off these letters, unfortunately, we are in the minority, but we sent them off to the Inspector General for Commerce. We made sure we sent a letter off to FEMA. We sent a letter off to NOAA, because we want to understand whether or not this administration responded adequately. There are reports that the Secretary, Noem, failed to respond in an adequate time.
It was 72 hours.
72 hours. Seems like a long time.
Right.
Especially as waters are continuing to rise and people are still lost. In addition to that, we wanted to know, what about these DOJ cuts, right? Let's talk about it.
Right.
You know, I serve on the DOJ committee. This letter was co-led by Greg Casar, who also serves on oversight and is from Texas. We need to understand, what was the impact? What does it look like at NOAA? If you've got it down to bare bones, were they able to actually get the information that they needed? And was it just a matter that there was no one there to get that information out? And from Commerce, we want to understand, as it relates to alarms and systems and warning systems, were there people in place to actually warn people? It doesn't seem like any of that existed.
Congresswoman, I am old enough to remember when a natural disaster would strike this country, and it would actually be a unifying moment, and you would have a leader at the national level who would come forward and remind us that this was a time to come together as Americans. It strikes me that this president's response to natural disasters, to crises, is very often bifurcated by whether or not he is talking about red state leadership or blue state leadership. Just listen to his evaluation and critique of a variety of leaders. Take a listen.
I have to tell you, the people here, first responders, the sheriff's office, all of the police, law enforcement, they've done an unbelievable job. Everyone sees what an incredible job the governor did. The federal government is doing a very bad job. They are not doing the job. They don't have people there. They don't have the people. Kamala wined and dined in San Francisco, and all of the people in North Carolina, no helicopters, no rescue. I just got back from a tour of the suffering and devastation in Louisiana. Obama ought to get off the golf course and get down there.
Just a quick note to you and to our viewers: after his trip to Texas, President Trump is heading back to his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. I think it makes it hard for Americans to assess what they are supposed to expect from FEMA when the evaluation from the president seems to shapeshift based around the politics of the moment. We had your colleague, Congressman Moskowitz, on with us. He made the argument that part of the answer, in addition to reform, is removing FEMA from the Department of Homeland Security. Do you agree with his assessment?
I mean, I don't know that that's going to actually fix it. Obviously, Kristi Noem is way in over her head. To have her be the one that kind of has to oversee this and somehow comes up with this idea or is okay with the idea of putting someone over FEMA who does not realize that there is a such thing as hurricane season, who also says something as idiotic as it's not the federal government that does emergency management, seemingly not understanding exactly what FEMA stands for, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, right? So we definitely have a level of incompetence that honestly, I don't know if moving or shifting to a different department is going to fix, because unfortunately, it seems like the only qualifications that this administration has required of the average person to be in this administration is that they be a Fox News host, which ultimately is not a qualification whatsoever. But I can tell you that this idea that he would say things as he's down in Texas and pretend as if this is something that only happens once every 1,000 years or whatever kind of claim he tried to make as he was down in Texas. I'm not quite 1,000 years old, but I can tell you that in the 80s, this very same river had a significant flash flooding situation where we lost lives again. So the reality is that climate change is real. The reality is that we are going to continue to face emergencies, especially since, as we just got done with the big ugly bill, they are clawing back those things that would have hopefully started to cool this planet down because they don't believe in science. The least that they could do is believe in helping American people. Unfortunately, we continue to see Republicans decide that they want to bury their constituents instead of actually doing everything that they can to make sure that they live amazing and full lives.
See, that's it right there. That's it right there, right? In a nutshell, that you know, how many lives have to be taken away before somebody does something or before somebody says something? Because you've seen all the lives that, or all the bodies that are lost in Texas. Now, what about the next event that happens? And then you just gonna put it on the state and tell the state to take care of themselves?
Yeah, it's going to be a next, man.
Yeah,
just with the sheer knowing science, again, knowing history, and again, knowing climate change and weather. Something's going to happen again, man. Sad thing about it again is individuals want to put this off on God. You know, this was God's will. You have to come out and say the same thing on this situation. Because you got to excuse away your incompetency. And like Crockett said, your Kristi Noem's, the only one in Trump's administration that had some kind of sense was Rubio. But he's been hooked, line, and single.
He drank the Kool-Aid. That's what he did.
He drank the Kool-Aid, man. And so I don't know if he's there just to hold the line the best as he can. I don't know. But the only one that had experience in the whole kitchen, everybody else was a flawless company.
Was Rubio?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
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 I don't see again how this administration is going to ever really be able to combat any kind of crisis because it's ill prepared for it. And then to let Elon go through that, man, for 6 months and rip everything apart to could benefit him, you know, down the line. So you're here, brother.
Yeah, you're here now, you know, and that's the uncommon sense that we're talking about, because it doesn't make sense to you have everything in line, then you tear it all up just because of the greed that you have and because of what you want and what you're looking for, that you not even think about other people. You say you out for the American people. How can you be out for the American people when you do something like this?
Oh yeah, but they're out for American people, man. Just not the American people that
not for their benefit, right?
That part. Yeah, man. So it's a certain segment of American people. You're talking about that 1%.
That
That
1%,
look
Doc.
at that 1% player. Because again, they're not affected by this, man.
Right.
And so as long as you're protecting that 1%, and as
Mm-hmm.
long as you're putting things in place that will insulate that 1%,
Right.
all is well.
All is
And
well.
so until there's a groundswell, which I think we're heading that way,
Mm-hmm.
with what you've done with ICE, and again, when the residual effects start coming down the pipe, you're gonna have a groundswell. Now, how
Right.
volatile it is, how intense it is, that's
Right.
gonna be the telltale sign. But
Yeah.
you're about to have a groundswell in a few moments, man, because it's just like the tsunami. All the water kind of recedes back, into the ocean.
Yeah.
It's building up, and that's
Yep.
going to come rushing into into the shore, man, and then that's all she wrote. And
Right.
that's what's happening, man. Stuff is getting sucked in
Right.
to that vortex, bro. And when they come out, it ain't gonna be pretty, man.
No, it's not gonna be pretty at all. Because this happened, Texas, it happened like last weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. About 2 weeks ago, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then you gonna wait until last Friday to come, quote unquote, see what's going on, to see what's happening.
Yeah, because they're trying to
Really?
get that big, beautiful bill in there, boy.
Yeah, that was true. He's trying to get that big, beautiful, ugly bill through,
That
which he
big,
did.
yeah, that big, beautiful bill, boy. So that's what they
No,
wanted, man.
no, but
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there.
it's in there, Doc. But we got to stand up and we got to say something, man. We got to do something. Even
Yeah.
as the people, you got to do something. You just can't sit there.
Well, that's the thing, man. They want people to feel overwhelmed and feel, defeated.
Yeah.
But again, it's the groundswell.
Right.
That's what you're going to have.
Right.
To push certain people out the way and to push certain people in. But the critical thing is, man, you got to have somebody put in. There's no sense in having a board if you don't have somebody to fill it.
That's
and I
right.
don't think we are properly preparing folks to fill those voids, man.
No, we're not.
It's, your girl Margaret Green done had a couple of Jesus on my face.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard, player.
Yeah, I think she found Jesus.
Finally got her come to Jesus moment.
I think she done found Jesus.
She
but
finally got some revelation somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
But again, man, you won't know until 6 months from now. That's when you're gonna start feeling it.
Right.
But again, once the void comes, you got to have somebody to replace it.
Right.
That's where this young generation comes in, man. They need to turn that anger or whatever into some real action.
Exactly.
Some concrete action, intelligent action, because the boycott day is over, man. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
The boycott day is over. The speech is over. I thank God for Jeffries and for Booker, for getting up there and doing the speech.
But brother,
God
8
bless
hours, 8 hours, 24 hours just to talk. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, God bless you. Like I said, God bless you.
But you talking about something that it ain't gonna change.
Nah. That's my problem. Again, after the speech, what's the plan? That's all I'm saying, man. After the speech,
what's the plan? Yeah,
that's all I want to know, man. What's the next step? And that's the only thing that bothers me.
But you mean you got to talk to me for 8 hours in order for me to hear the plan?
His rationale was he was trying to stall the bill as long as he could.
Stall the bill as long as it could. When it is a done deal.
That was his sign.
How much stalling you gonna do?
I guess as long as he possibly could. But
uncommon sense.
Yeah, but it's an okie doke, man. A lot of those Republicans talking about they weren't gonna vote for that bill because it was bad for the country, yada yada yada.
Come on, man.
And then those suckers still voted for it. So that tells you, man, there's a game.
Well, that bill made them all millionaires.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
they
that
are.
bill did.
Yeah, they are.
Made them all millionaires.
They
So
are.
of course they had to say, well, no, we not going to agree with this bill. Da, 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 da. Come on, man. Behind closed doors, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
signed up on it, man. So
Yeah.
again,
And since Marjorie popping off at the mouth now,
mm-hmm.
she was one of the ones that signed it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know, the AI was in there, really, but you signed off on it, sister.
But you signed off on it.
You signed off on it, baby.
Nah.
So what that tell you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I said,
I'm just
no
telling
honor
you.
among thieves.
No honor amongst thieves.
No sir at all, brother.
Uncommon Sense every Tuesday at 7:00 p.m. right here on the TruVision.net and SenseYouAsk.com. Unfiltered, unapologetic, uncommon sense with Jay Howard and Michael B. Wright Sr. And Michael B., as always, it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure, my brother.
No, man,
And
make it do what it do.
until next week, we're signing off.